Hi, I'm Patricia Greenberg. My guest today is Dr. Juan Salinas, and he is famous for tearing off his lab coat on Shark Tank to show an exquisite physique. Why, do you ask, did he do that? Because Juan is passionate about sharing information about nutrition and fitness to help people live healthier and longer. Welcome, Dr. Juan.
Hi, Patricia. How are you? It's an
Great.
honor to be here
Great.
with you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to have you. And there's so much to cover, but I wanted to start out with how you even came to the United States, because that's an interesting story in itself.
Yeah, so I was born in Honduras in Central America, and I came here to the US when I was 17. So basically finished high school and came to college, and I went to Rutgers University in New Jersey.
Very nice.
Alumni from there. And that was what brought me here, really. And I must say that I was one of the things that I was most impressed when I first got to Rutgers and really the United States was how much like opportunities to do sports were here. Because back home, it was all about soccer. And at the high school, we had one soccer field, and that was it. There was actually a couple of basketball field, courts outside, but people used it to play soccer.
Okay. Wow.
So, and it was mostly upperclassmen. So, unless you were really good, you weren't playing.
Okay.
When I went to Rutgers, I found, a gym, which was like unbelievable to me. I never had a gym before. So I got hooked right there. I was a gym rat from that day on. So got me thinking about how lucky we are here in the US to have all these opportunities to do sports, and we got to take advantage of it.
So when I was reading through your material, and you were a swimmer in Honduras, and when you moved to the United States, you switched over more to bodybuilding in the gym. So did you just jump in? Did you get any training? Because here, as you know, as kids, we have coaches for everything. Even when I was a kid, the gym teacher taught you how to weight train, or they taught you how to swim, or sounds like you had to really just learn a lot of this on your own.
Yeah, I think my coach was Muscle and Fitness magazine. Okay. I was really hooked into that magazine. I read a lot of articles, and there was always a section on how to do exercises. So I would try to mimic exactly, how they would say it in the magazine. But when I was swimming, I was a swimmer back in Honduras, and I really loved it. We did minor weight training. Like I mentioned, there was not really facilities there to do that. So I had been in some sort of a gym before, and I sort of knew a little bit about, how to use weights and things like that. But I really got into it by magazines, by watching other people work out at the gym. And I had a friend that, I became really good friends with in college, and we were both into the gym. So we were kind of feeding each other with information and helping each other out. So that's how I learned.
Yeah. So it's, it became a way of life for you. So you obviously practice what you preach. You have a PhD in food science, a diploma in sports nutrition from the International Olympic Committee, and as well as you're a personal trainer. So tell me, what is your approach to staying fit as you age?
Well, I think I continue to do the same things that I was doing when I was in my 20s and 30s. So I've learned a lot along the way, but really it's all about staying active. So I still go to the gym 5 times a week, just like I did, 10 and 20 years ago. And I still watch my diet like I did back in, when I was in my 20s and 30s too. And I've learned a lot more about diet, and exercise now that I'm older. So I'm able to, I know my body more too than I used to. So I know what kind of foods, will upset me, or what kind of foods will help me with sports. And I try to keep, a certain diet so that, I feel like I'm on my best.
So what is your recommendations to stay away from as we age?
To stay away from?
Yeah.
Well, I would say the things that really affect our bodies are it's all about the micronutrients, right? So, carbohydrates are our main source of energy. And this as a runner, this is what our body wants to use as energy. It's the most efficient source of energy. But often we tend to overeat carbohydrates, especially if you're not very active. You don't need that much carbohydrates. Yet the American diet is full of carbohydrates. So that's one thing that we need to just watch out, not stay away from it completely because we need it. But I always say to people that, are trying to lose weight, I said, first start by cutting your carbs in half. Whatever you eat today, cut it in half for a week. And then you start to realize what carbs are doing to you. And that's a very
I do want to clarify, because I talked about this all the time myself and with my guests. When we say carbohydrates, we talk about the refined, but we really, really need to remember that vegetables are also carbohydrates and fruits are carbohydrates, right? So I always tell everybody, if you're craving something, go for a piece of fruit or have a vegetable. It's going to give you the same ultimate, it breaks down ultimately to the same thing as a bag of potato chips or a big piece of bread, right?
Absolutely right. And further to your comment, if you're feeling like having orange juice, go for the actual orange and have the juice from the orange and have the fiber that is inside that orange rather than having just, the squeezed juice from the supermarket. And, that will help you too with your sugar metabolism. So it's better to have the whole fruit than to actually have just the juice out of it.
Absolutely. Dr. Juan, you're in your 50s. You look absolutely amazing. And I saw that you actually won the master's category in natural physique bodybuilding. Tell us a little bit about that, because again, the misconception and the myth running around pervasively in our society still today in 2023, when we know better, is that you can't build muscle as you age. So talk to us about that.
Sure. And I want to point out that I'm a natural bodybuilder too. I know that, as we age, it's harder. I mean, we all know recovery time is longer. We're usually more busy too with our regular lives. As we get older, we have more responsibilities. It's harder to go to the gym and things like that. But our bodies, will respond to exercise and nutrition just like they would, when you were in your 30s or your 20s. And the thing is, you kind of have to listen to your body a little more, So, for instance, I stretch more now than I used to because I've noticed that, my muscles were getting tight. I was getting a little bit of, some pinching on my knees. So I started stretching a little more before I did a leg workout. Same thing with, sorry, were you?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yes. And, in terms of weight training, I used to be the kind of guy that would just go and try to lift as much as I can. And that was probably okay, when I was in my 20s. Now in my 50s, I can't do that. Hurting my joints, starting having shoulder problems and back problems and things like that. So my approach now is a little different. It's maintain the intensity, but with lower weight. So I use more about the Tabata type of exercise, which is more about doing higher reps, but higher reps, but then, you go longer. So, so, you're kind of getting the same intensity that you would as you would be doing a 1 rep max, but you're not hurting your joints as much as you would.
That's fantastic advice, because we always hear people, especially if we're encouraging older people to get out there and to try to be active and to go to the gym. This actually speaks to 2 things. You can go in and you can get a great workout with 10 pounds. A lot of people don't understand that. Just adjust as you get older. Even if you were a bodybuilder in your younger years, it's still okay to go and do lighter weights. And people are very, people are somewhat embarrassed, I think, to go to the gym when they're older, right? Because they feel like they can't keep up. And I always say, don't look around you, maybe look for inspiration, but the only person you're competing with is yourself, right? The only person you have to answer to is yourself. And so just getting out there, even with 5 and 10 pound weights, can still do wonders for your body. So I really like to encourage that. Dr. Juan, do you feel more tired, or that you have to take more downtime now that you're older with this?
Yes. I would lie if I tell you no. I've always been a good sleeper though. I always had my 8 hours of sleep.
Good. Good for
I
you.
feel like in the past, if I had 6, I'll go to work and be all like peppy and ready to go. Now, after a very intense workout, I feel like, I need my 8 hours of sleep, and I try to get 8 hours every day. So yeah, I feel like it does make a little bit of a difference. But again, that's part of your adjustment on your whole life routine,
Absolutely.
to bed a little earlier than I used to,
Mhm.
So,
And it's good for you. It's like I always say that, you don't want to go out and party. You want to actually be the very best you can be from a physical standpoint as you get older, because that'll serve you really well in later years. And I just, you're just doing great. So now, Juan, if that wasn't enough, the way you take care of yourself on a daily basis and your accomplishments are phenomenal. And then you went on to develop your own healthy food product. Tell us how that evolved.
yeah, everything was about this, what we've been talking about. So in my, late 20s and early 30s, I started to do more bodybuilding shows. I wanted to do something with all these workouts that I was doing. And I found myself trying to find snacks during the day as I was, on my regular day job, trying to find snacks that I could eat, just to keep up with my body demands for food, right? And I kept having a really hard time finding snacks. And all I could probably eat at the time was pretzels. That's what I was going after. Just pretzels, that's the best thing, because everything else was a cookie or a chip.
Right.
I was like, well, this has got to be the best thing. And, obviously now, we know that there's really not a lot of nutrition in a pretzel rather than carbohydrates. So, I was like, after that, I started working, I was working for some of the largest snack companies here in the US. And really most of the products that we were making was just for it to taste good. There wasn't really a lot of thought behind the nutrition of the product.
Were you
Until
working
I started.
were you developing the product in terms of for flavor and marketing? Was that the job that you were doing as a product development person?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll have a project where it's like, hey, let's make a s'mores sandwich cookie, and that was it. There was no boundaries as to, hey, it should be this much carbohydrates or this much protein or this much fat or sugar. No, it was just make it taste good. And the way that we measure success, potential success of the product at the time was to do a consumer test where we'll actually provide samples of the product that we were making to people. And they had like a scale of likeness, and they will say, yeah, I really like it a lot. And then another one of purchase intent, and yes, I think I will buy it. And if you met the matrix, then we will launch it and it will be a successful product. So, this is how companies were thinking back in the days. I think now everything's changed. Now people really read. You want to read the back of the bag before you actually consume the product. You want to know what's in it. And, you're looking at the macros, you're looking at the ingredients, etc. So that was one of the things that I felt was missing, in really for everybody, something that was nutritious, but it was a snack, something that you can have very quickly between meals.
Right.
That's how the idea came about to create this peanut chip snack. It's actually made from peanuts, navy beans, and brown rice.
Oh.
And the idea was to have this combination of plant-based proteins merged together so that you create a really nice complementary protein profile that was actually useful on, recovery and building muscle, things like that. And in addition to that, I want to make sure it was low sugar. So if I was going to put any carbohydrates in it, I wanted to have what I call quality carbohydrates, which are more slow digesting carbohydrates that will, provide you more energy, longer lasting energy rather than sugar spikes, and that's how this was.
Uh,
But
yeah. So I was going to say, now, did you have to take your product to a special manufacturing, or is this something that a regular snack manufacturer could put together for you?
so no, that was actually one of the main challenges that I had as I started this product, because the fact that it actually has peanut in it
Mhm.
limited a lot of manufacturing facilities because of the allergen issues. Some people have allergen issues, and a lot of companies don't want to have their products made in the same line or in the same facility of something that has an allergen.
Right.
So it was very hard for me to find a place. And then, I ended up having to buy my own equipment and my own facility to make it. And that's where I am today.
Wow. Wow. So how did you get to Shark Tank?
Shark Tank, that was, I guess the stars kind of lined up and they gave me a call. I'm not sure how they got the product. I am assuming that they might have seen it in one of the trade shows or something. And I had applied in the past, maybe 2 years prior to the time when I went on it. And I received a call from one of the producers asking me if I was interested in being in Shark Tank. And obviously my answer was yes. And it just went on from there.
And then who'd you get the investment from?
I got investment from Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. Fabulous. And are
Yes,
you still working with him today?
yes, yeah. We work
Ah,
with him. We have a team that he put together for us. So we meet, with his team on a weekly basis, and then we do reporting to Mark himself, also on a weekly basis, and we go back and forth on issues and things of matter. With
amazing, amazing. So you're spreading yourself thin, but you're still taking very good care of yourself. I also saw on your website, which is www.pnuff.com, very clever name, that you designed a 34-day exercise and nutrition plan to get well that anybody can do. Can you give us a few starter tips for getting up and around, especially over 50?
Yeah, well, the first thing that I try to do in this plan is designed to help you understand about portion control, about carbohydrate intake and protein intake,
Mhm,
and water.
mhm.
So it's almost going back to the basics, but it's put it in a very easy way, nothing complicated where you have to do a lot of measuring and weighing and things like that. Instead, what I did is I came out with this process where you actually use measuring cups.
Oh, mhm.
And with a measuring cup, you kind of understand this is my portion of protein that I'm having in this meal, and this is my portion of carbohydrates. Whether it's from a starchy carbohydrate or from a vegetable, all included by just kind of measuring initially with cups. And the idea is that eventually you kind of start to understand what a portion is for you. Another thing that I do in this program is what I just explained before about training. I came out with this training where it's not your typical gym training that you go and do, 4 sets of 10 reps
Right.
of chest, but instead, it gets you into this Tabata type style of training where in 35 minutes you're done with a session.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then, water to me is extremely important. I always tell people you got to get to that at least a gallon a day
Mhm,
of
mhm.
water. And, everybody's like, oh man, that's so hard. That's so hard. The thing is like as you start doing it, your body starts asking for it. And you
Yes.
get to a
Mhm,
point where you're drinking a gallon of water by midday. And you're
mhm.
like, oh man, I still have another 8 hours to go, and I'm already done with my gallon. So it's pretty cool how your body works. And I could tell just by drinking water, your energy is just gonna feel so much better. You're getting rid of so much toxins. Even your weight. I
Yeah.
see people dropping weight just by starting to drink water. They're not bloated anymore. They're looking leaner. And so I tell them water is probably the first thing that I will do in any program. But yeah, I actually have it for free, I think, in our website. If anybody wants to check it out, it's on the pnuff.com website.
Okay. Okay.
So you can download it there. You can get a downloadable version of it. And
Oh,
check.
fantastic. Okay, we're going to look for that. So, Dr. Juan, this has been so informative and so happy to talk to you. What do you have coming up on the horizon? Anything new?
Yeah, well, I think I'm gonna, from a personal and the sports area, I think I'll probably do the Mr. America game this year.
Oh, very nice.
I became a pro on natural bodybuilding in the past. And last year I became a pro on the physique. And this year I want to try the classic bodybuilding.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I wish you all the best with that. Where is it being held?
That one's in Atlantic City.
Okay. All right. We'll keep an eye. Those of you nearby can go to Atlantic City and see that. So again, thank you so much, Dr. Juan Salinas, for joining us and sharing your story with the listeners. You're such an inspiration. And of course, what do you like about getting older?
Not a lot. There's not a lot.
There's always, people say that, but there's always something good there.
What I really like about it is I feel like I know so much more than I did, 20 years ago. And I feel like now I could actually help people too that are younger, with actual factual information and not just, stuff that you read on Google or on your social media. So that I like about it. Yeah. But I don't like this grays,
We could always do something about that, but delightful to talk to you. I wish you all the best with your snack company and your bodybuilding, and just, I wish you many, many years of happiness, success, and health as well.
Thank you, Patricia, for you as well.
Thank you, Juan. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Patricia Greenberg, for engaging discussions on all things aging well. And for feedback and topic requests, please contact me at www.patriciagreenberg.com.